Yo, 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 what's poppin', everybody? Happy Saturday. Coming to you live in two different areas of the world. We've got Tejas and Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
We missed last week due to some technical difficulties in scheduling, but we're figuring it. We are going over Instinct by TD Jakes. Last we covered chapters 4, 5, 6, and 7. Imani's gonna have the pleasure of breaking that down for us. And then this week is chapters 8, 9, 10, 11. And I'll have the pleasure of doing that one. I'm gonna spit out the bag and my water bottle. Going to the
We're
beach,
covering
y'all.
about
So,
that one, y'all.
so that being said, beach and also I want today. I've this book has been pretty insightful in terms of like just a quick little thought process as I've been reading. I've been strengthening my spiritual discernment, and it's cool to understand like the correlation between that and instinct, what people might call like their inner thought or their and dive into it. It's been helping bring me some revelation. But I'm excited to hear your takeaways, sis. You walked the floor, and I
Oh,
appreciate you. Here you are. Go ahead.
hola, yo soy Imani.
Imani,
Mi
mucho gusto.
INDIVE es en Texas.
Tejas. In Austin.
Yo soy Boricua. Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh. Okay. I promise I know more Spanish than that. All right,
It's okay.
let me pull up what I got in my notes. How do I make this small? There
We'll
we
see.
go. And go. Yeah. Dominicana, Moniana, Boricua, Morena, Dominicana. Here we go. Okay, so in chapter 4, he talks about being a visionary, and this man was in the jungle. Is it or the plains of Africa? I don't know. He was on a safari. Yeah, he was on a safari. We're world travelers now. He's in Puerto Rico, TDJ is in Africa, I'm in Texas. So it's all working out. We're all united by reading because reading is fundamental. Anyways, so he says in
Like I
chapter
gotta
4,
tell me you have to hype yourself up to read this book without telling me you need to hype yourself up to read this book.
I am reading this book without bias. I am getting
Okay,
through
let's
it.
go. Let's go. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
And I did write notes because there were some things that I was like, you know what, TD, I'm gonna give that to you. Okay, Mr. Jakes. All right. So he says, as he's on the safari, he is having these realizations, which was really actually kind of cool because he got to the safari by doing, I believe it was some kind of like summit, seminar, conference kind of deal where these I want to say he was in South Africa. I truly want to say that. And he went to lead teachings and work with a bunch of very faithful people. And they paid. They paid. He was saved. I mean, all he had to do was come up and spread the word of God. So can't be mad at a man for that. So I thought that was really cool that he was even in that space, that he got there by his own fruition. He got there on his own based off of his connection with God, off of his skill set, off of himself being an amazing salesman. Okay, because you got to be a salesman in any freaking field that you're in order to be in these certain spaces. And oh, that's what we learned in The Greatest Salesman. Nope, that wasn't the name of the book.
Literally the exact thought that went in my head. Literally, yep, yep, that's the right one. That's literally
Oh, okay,
that's the exact thought that came in my head as soon as you said that.
yeah. It's
That's
like
absolutely. I
you gotta know how to be in these spaces and how to speak and close these deals, because whether or not you're preaching the word of God, if you're peddling drugs, it doesn't matter. Like, it's the same thing. Like, if you have a purpose, not saying that peddling drugs is a purpose. I mean, I guess if you kind of think about it in a universal way, that there's no good or evil. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting way too off. So I appreciated that he captured that essence of him being in this position. I thought that was so cool. And now he's on this freaking safari and he's seeing all the elephants, and now he's having these epiphanies, I want to say. I mean, I know it's not like a full on epiphany, but it is an epiphany. He sees these moments and he's able to decipher what's going on through spirit, through his own comprehension. And so he starts talking about how every visionary uses instinct to know when to use their intellect as equipment. Bombastic, because you cannot have a vision without the intellect, the discernment, and, by way of TD Jakes, the instinct to execute your vision, or else it is just a dream. And he says that, and I was just like, "Ooh, he cooking. He's really cooking over here," because exactly, vision without execution is just a dream. And that is not something that comes into the physical world. So, using your intellect to enable you to bring your vision to life, like, come on, I don't even, bars. Okay, so he learned through, his guy was a Zulu man. He learned through the Zulu guide that it takes instinct to find the elephant. He must surround himself by people with intellect to move forward in life. So basically, he was saying that the Zulu instructor, he was he was able to find the elephant based off pure instinct, not off of pure intellect or anything like that. But you have to be able to have the intellect in order to know when to trust your instinct and know where to look. It's such very distinct differences between the two. Am I still on? Can you hear me, Marcus? Oh no.
yes, yes. I'm just in an area. I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Okay, so
I have no pass.
okay, yeah, no, it's all good. Okay, so
I'm at a gas station. Sorry, I'm listening.
okay, cool. So yeah, so he must surround himself by intellect in order to move forward in life. That is to say that the people we surround ourselves by is of the utmost importance to reach the levels that even TD Jakes have reached. Intellect helps learn, but instinct helps us take action. So again, if you have all this intellect and you don't use your internal guidance to make action when action needs to be made, you have nothing but a brain. You have nothing but a vision, and it cannot come to life. And if it does not come to life, it's like you're really taking away the glory of your purpose, in turn taking away the glory of God, because by doing your purpose, you move through that. And one thing I will say about not being religious, I mean, I'm a God lover, I'm a universe lover, and all the lessons that I've been taught through spirit, super powerful. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is to trust myself, to trust my instinct, trust my internal guidance, trust my gut. Gotta trust my gut. because that's where like your body will tell you what's going on well before your mind even know what's going on. Your body can sense these things, and it's really powerful. And that's another way spirit moves through you. So him saying that intellect helps us learn, yes, 100%. But you have to take action, and you have to know when to. Just like this man, following his instinct and following his internal system to find this elephant, but using his smarts and using what he's learned about the savannah. If that, I don't know if the savannah's in Africa. Don't quote me on that, okay? But it's somewhere. Okay, so then he says use your instinct to hire people in name people is name what is a good business deal. Okay, I get that. He also said that to using your instinct to hire good people for a good business, because if you don't hire the right people, if your instincts are off, you're gonna hire somebody that's gonna help either drive you insane, make you lose money, and honestly, those are the two biggest things. Like, or disrupt the disrupt the team's synchrony, 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 synchrony. Yes, disrupt the team's flow.
Synchronicity. Is that what
No,
you're saying? That's
synchronicity,
synchronicity.
harmony. One of those words. Okay. Um, and that makes sense. I mean, I've hired people before, and I've hired people. I've hired people that I gave a chance to, and I know it was exactly what was needed because I had situations where we had certain conversations, and in those conversations, of course, I sensed the I sensed my internal guidance telling me to trust it, even though it may not work out, but it's meant to be anyway. Then okay, so then he says people adapt to their own expectations. We often behave on our own perspectives more than the reality of its own circumstance. Am I still in four? I didn't. Anyways, yeah. So him saying that that people adapt to their own expectations, it's actually kind of funny because that's what happens. Like you have all these things in your mind, and that you basically create your own perspective, but it's not always the correct perspective. You may think you know how to find the elephant based off of something you read in a book, but unless you have truly experienced it and it's vetted as the Zulu guide. I mean, you probably don't have to be like as perfect as the Zulu guide. You don't have to be like in the best position, like you've done this for 35 years. You may have only done it for 6 months and you still have a um certain skill set in order to help you find this elephant, right? But in reality, us as humans are just that, humans. And we see things the way we want to see them. We are in a position of our own experiences, our past, the things that we want for our future. And that creates almost a bubble, not because people aren't willing to be open, but just because sometimes humans can definitely get caught up in that mindset. So there are moments where if you are not choosing discernment and not trusting yourself to follow or just to see, just like be open, see what's going on around you in order to truly thrive in those environments. So then he asks, like, is your perception of reality shrewd by what you expect or what you really desire? Ooh. Ooh.
No, that's bars. I constantly tell people this truth that I've used in my life, but to help people um come to the like understanding that people's perception of reality sometimes is more real than reality itself.
Yeah, that's
Most
exactly what
majority of the
he's saying.
time.
Yeah, 100%. It's
Yeah.
so it's not always the case. Sometimes you really have to like be humbled. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. I'm not saying you have to be humble all 24/7, but humble yourself and realize that your perspective is not the only perspective. There are other perspectives, there are other threads being woven into this gigantic tapestry of life that we're all in. We're all a thread. We all have a story. And looking in a bird's eye view, like look at the tapestry from behind the person that's like woving it together. You feel me? So you can see the big picture. Sometimes I think we're so zoomed in, we're that person like, with the thread, not seeing the full vision. We're just working and working. And I until we zoom out, then we're like, okay, now I see what's going on. Now I understand. So very important to um, keep that in mind at all time. But also, he says, trust your gut to guide you. Or maybe I said that. I don't know. But yeah, trust your gut to guide you. Trust your body. Calm down. Breathe for a second and allow because your mind is where the perspective and the expectations are, but your soul and your body is going to tell you what's going on because it's smart. Like it senses when things are off. It knows when you're in distress. It knows when somebody's like not being 100% truthful with you. And of course we have to again not adapt to our own expectations, but be real with ourselves as well. Okay, so then chapter 5, he starts talking about the twins. And I'm not sure if they're his twins or if he's a twin. I think I got a little mixed up on that part. But he basically was talking about our individuality and the power of that. The power of us being very unique with very unique perspectives, very unique instinctual instincts. And he talks about how powerful that is and how we as people, as individuals, can doubt that. Doubt that. It's like we sometimes there's moments where, as an individual, where I believe that humans will, of course, out of wanting to be a part of a group, because we all do, that we can lose our individuality, but he's basically saying that our individuality is so divine that our distinct purposes from one another is what makes us so great and what makes living so beautiful. It's a part of a universal system that we're all in, and it's up to us to allow ourselves to be ourselves. And like as he was talking about the twins, they have this very distinct lives, but they can share a life as well. It's just making sure that we choose our own uniqueness in order to follow our purpose. Because even a set of twins born in the same womb, born of the same egg that split, we will all have our different paths and our different purpose. And it's really truly up to us to follow that path, to live in our purpose. And that is how we all thrive. And that's how our communities grow so strong. And it prevents us from living in that personal hell because we're following it, we're trusting it, and we're allowing ourselves to go with what we need to go with. It's like it's the like this natural sense. And I think a lot of people ignore it, but there's this natural sense within ourselves that help us move in this purpose and guides us there. It's up to us if we choose to follow it or not. But once we do, that's when the magic happens. That's when the beauty happens. That's when we are living in our purpose in flow, fulfilling it, helping people, helping ourselves, be doing our part. I'm doing my part. Um, literally doing our part. And yeah, okay, so I will go ahead and pass it to you because yeah, I'm just gonna end it there.
No, fire takes, and I'm glad of the amazing idea we shared together came about, so that all of these things can be discussed. Because at the end of the day, like being able to dive further into what this book is talking about
Mhm.
gives us a better ability to operate in what we've been wanting to get to, and that's just a higher sense of frequency,
Mhm.
of fulfillment, of integrity
Yes.
and alignment. And yeah, so instinct is definitely something serious. I guess he makes a shift in the 8, 9, 10, 11 in terms of how you have to embody your life once you
Mhm.
start to live your life in this type of way. Meaning, like, I feel like the wiser we get and the older we have, the more that we understand, it's not always gonna be sunshine and rainbows. There's gonna be difficulties and challenges that are gonna be hard to get past, and you've got to embrace those things as you lean into listening to, I believe, the spirit, but your instinct on what it's telling you to do and how you should do that. So let me pull out my notes real quick. I'll be quick though, just because I need to keep my phone charged, and I have a couple client calls that I'm going to take on the beach. Shout out God for being able to work anywhere at any time and digital skill sets.
Love that for you.
Anybody, you know the vibes. Hey, I love that for you too. You about to be rocking with me. We're playing. Okay.
Oh,
So
I,
chapter 8.
I definitely have some updates for you too, but we'll get to that another time.
I bet. I'm excited. I bet. So 8, instincts to increase. It's talking about how essentially, can you still see me or no? Okay, awesome. Um, it's talking about how it's designed for growth, multiplication, and expansion. So we all possess like gifts and essentially talents that are given to us. But in order to maximize the potential, I was taught growing up, potential is a fancy word for you ain't done crap from mentors. And essentially, you must expose yourself to new ideas, diverse perspectives, and opportunities that help you grow. Like, this requires you to live in risk. This requires you to live by faith and a willingness to embrace the uncertainty that most people are so scared to lean into. And once you become more intentional about being developed and expanded, what God has placed in you, I think it's a lot. Lot. Can I not enter thinking? Oh, well, this car in front of me made the mistake that I didn't. Shout out him. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, shout out the Lord. I'm at the beach. En la isla.
Este.
Vamos a la playa. Vamos. See. Okay. But anyways, yeah, expanding what God has placed in you requires you to grow and stay intentional. What is it? 28, 628 per hour. Oh, I gotta pay. It's okay. It requires you to allow him to put you in situations that are designed to make you uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, then you ain't operating in the instinct or developing into who you need to be. And that's a problem. That means you're stagnant. And stagnation is usually a byproduct of fear, not doing things, while true fulfillment comes from developing what's inside you. And that's what we need
In
to
chapter
be
eight.
intentional about.
This was in chapter eight.
That's in chapter 8.
chapter
All
8.
right, I'm gonna finish reading it. I'm gonna finish reading it.
Yeah, yeah, girl, it's a good one. But yeah, so I was like, I agree with those things because in my life I've had to literally put myself in so many uncomfortable situations that then taught me how to. Oh, it's only $6 for the entire day. That's fire. I thought it was $6 an hour, like back at home. Yeah, Puerto Rico's kind of inexpensive. I like it. Okay, but I've had to go through a lot of things, and I'm like, yo, there ain't no way that I'm gonna be able to do this. Or Lord, I have no idea how this is gonna actually occur and happen. Help me. And he does. I had a fire conversation. Shout out my brother. I don't know if he ever catches these recordings, but man, he got faced with a situation that was completely in where his back is against the wall, and you've got to make a decision on how to respond, right? The comfortable thing to do is to do what you know rather than lean upon a God that can provide for you in a way that you don't know how. That requires you to believe in something that is not seen. Most people, they say that they live in faith, but they don't do that part, right? I got to see that. I got to operate in the certainty of what you're telling me. You're not telling me right now, and that's where the big difference is made. And I had a great conversation with my brother yesterday, and he was just at between a hard spot and a rock where he was essentially going to have to decide whether to take this interview or stick with a job that is okay, but he's already kind of leaning to be out of. But with a kid on the way, him being a father and a husband, he came from. I felt like really cool because I had a big brother moment. He came to to me for some advice, and I'm like, look, bro, I love you, but I'm not you. I don't have your situation. I'm not married. I ain't got kids. I'm not raising a family. I'm not a husband. And you've got a lot of things on your shoulders. So what I'm going to say is seek that advice from the Lord. Go read a book in Proverbs. And then once you read the book in Proverbs, ask him to reveal what he needs to reveal to you. Then give me and call me. And that's what he did. He was like, bro, so I read third Proverbs and I think he's just telling me to trust him. And we just dove into that. And that's a whole new level of growth in his faith that I've seen him take that requires you to get uncomfortable. Like, okay, God, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I trust you, even though it doesn't look like what I'm seeing is going to play out in my favor, even though it can and it will if you allow him to do it. And that's why I related to amen, amen. But that's why I related to what you said in terms of, him going to the Amazon or the Safari thing, not the Amazon, the Safari. Because like, yo, that is literally me in Dubai. That whole situation was me in Dubai. I can't make that up. It's crazy how that thing played out. And it just required you to get uncomfortable and trust in his ability to provide for you. So shout out the Lord on that. Chapter 9, Instincts Under Pressure. Really talking about how adversity helps like shape your character and reveals your purpose. And he talked about like the carbon being turned into diamonds under extreme amount of pressure. And those seasons, although they're difficult in the moment, if you understand them, they're actually opportunities for something new to come about and transformation to occur. So when you challenge yourself and you grow and you face obstacles that seem difficult, they force you to adapt, discover hidden strengths, where you're strong, where you're weak, and clarify what truly matters. And in my opinion, that's nothing else but your relationship with God and having a consistent day-to-day life where you're an appreciation of the blessings in the present moment. And that has been something I've had to work through challenge after challenge after challenge, where it's been veils being released from my eyes so I can see that as truth. It often requires leaving familiar environments and releasing limiting expectations placed on us by others. Pressure is often the catalyst. So, high key, why I took a very uncomfortable trip this week. I've never done anything like this in my life. It's been amazing, but it's been my first solo one, and I wanted the full authentic experience. So I got an Airbnb in the middle of San Juan, not the touristy version of San Juan. And I had asked God for what it would be like and have it a genuine experience there. And I was without water for 2 days. That's that the water came back. There's severe infrastructure issues within the entire island.
I
And
swear, America, stop trying to take Puerto Rico's beaches, make them a state. If you're gonna do all of that, stop trying to and then
it's
not give
so
them water, but want to take
it's
their beaches. Get the do
agree.
not give me
I agree. I agree. But a lot of it is the old heads in in Puerto Rico that don't want to let go of the claim that we aren't a state. There's a lot of pride behind that,
and
which
that's
keeps
fair.
us from
I
having the
wouldn't want to be
infrastructure.
a state
Yeah.
either. I would not want to be a state. I would want to be my
No,
own
but
independent country, like
would
Cuba.
I would I would love to have us as a state though, so that we could have the infrastructure. But point being is he gave me a real idea of what my people actually have to go through and the type of joy that they experience and how they wake up every day and just make the most of it. I'm like, quit playing. One, I'm very minimalistic, so I made it work. You know what I'm saying? I had to buy big gallons of water and take showers with water and stuff. But what a blessing it was to actually be able to do those things, you
Yep.
know, and then actually be out here and to experience the vibe. So yeah, I'm extremely grateful on what that turned out to be. But you know, putting myself in an uncomfortable situation has allowed me to grow, communicating with people that I don't really know the language with, and still getting around, meeting people has allowed me to grow. And now operating multiple businesses while doing it day to day. Like, yes, I came out here on vacation, but I wanted a real life test run of what it would be like if I lived here. And so taking calls, having a large webinar that I had to attend as well, and getting some business done while I'm enjoying God's creation. So it was honestly crazy. And it's allowed me to expand a little bit. So I agree, y'all. Challenge yourselves. Embrace the pressure. All right, instincts set the pace. Chapter 10. He really talked about essentially timing and pace. So when you step outside of your comfort zone or the cage that he talks about, you've got to resist the urge to move too quickly or to retreat in fear. I call it being steady Eddie. You got to be consistently leaned in. The Bible talks about staying in the refiner's fire. To be refined, you've got to stay at the hottest point in the fire for a very long time. That's not getting in and hopping out too quick, right? Either out of a retreat of fear or trying to fasten up what you want to occur. It is more so about making wise decisions while you're operating in those instincts so you can maintain and grow at a proper pace. And I feel like if we don't have the level of feedback and being realistic with yourself on what has gone well and what hasn't, um, then you stay in this cycle of a defeated mindset rather than looking at life as an entire journey of growth, reflection, resetting, and restarting. It's a recalibration. You're not perfect. No one's perfect, but it's getting back up and taking an actual assessment. I call it taking inventory of what has gone well, what hasn't gone well, what you did that could have been different, what you didn't do that could have changed some things, and then making the proper adjustments and then reanalyzing it and just continuously progressing in that route. But timing is something I deal with. I related to this chapter a lot because your boy sometimes ain't patient. Hence what I mentioned about, hey, yeah. So I just want to make sure I'm moving in a proper pace and understanding what's going on. We're not getting way ahead of myself like I usually do.
Yeah.
And not just in regards to her, but I'm talking about in life. And then the
Yeah.
last one is instinctive investments. So he was
Wait,
essentially
before
helping
you
us.
get into that, I just wanted to
Yeah,
comment on like what you were saying about like overpay or trying to outpace your actual system or situation. It reminds me of like I always remember that freaking unlimited event where you guys were talking about how people get this idea and they start and it feels so good, so they're learning and they're getting all this information and they hit this plateau and they either find a different interest and then start all the way over instead
yeah,
of pushing forward and allowing
and leaning
growth
in. Yeah,
throughout with like intentional pacing with patience and instead of letting the uncomfortability take you out the game completely, it's like no, trust the uncomfortability, push past it, because on the other side now you're reaching a whole nother hill that has everything that you want there, but you can't reach that part unless you go through the uncomfortability. But so many people instead
Yeah, it's
start
the
over.
valley of despair. So that was the
Yeah,
five stages of your five psychological stages of business and life. So essentially, you get started, you're super excited, then you're like, "Damn, this is harder than I thought it was." It's informed pessimism, and
yeah,
then so it's uninformed optimism, informed pessimism. You're like, "Oh shit, this is not is going to be as easy as it is," and then you get to the valley of despair, which is something extremely difficult. Life starts to get really real. You're like, holy crap. Majority of people start back up at number one, uninformed optimism, try to find something new. But what we're called to do is to lean in, as you were saying, and develop yourself. That's the answer. If you develop yourself, the way that you think, the way that you process, the way that you move and your actions, your habits, then you're going to have a different result. And then you can get into informed optimism. You're like, okay, I know what it's going to take. I'm here. Let's get it. And then
right.
you get to the overall end all be all, which is your goal or the achievement that you're aiming to receive. Less than 4% of people ever get to that point, though, because majority of people are like most people and they quit. So don't be most people. I appreciate you bringing that back up, and I'm glad you got value from Unlimited. I can't wait till we bring
Oh,
that back.
I know. I cannot
We're
wait.
closer we're closer than you think. Mikhail, shout out Mikhail, Mr. Steele. We love you, man. I know you're here in spirit.
Love you,
But
Mr.
he's been doing his
Steele.
thing. He's doing his thing um in creating some partnerships for our marketing agency, and events are still a very big aspect, and God willing, we'll have a good amount of funding over the next year to start really doing those at a big way, and have the proper channels for advertising and getting people in front of that information to grow and develop with us. So excited.
Heard.
The vision's not lost. We're still moving forward.
Not
We're leaned in.
Unlimited is still
We're
going to be on
leaned
my
in.
property too because I'm getting closer and closer
Amen.
to breaking ground. So it's all
I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay, so last
okay.
chapter, instinctive instinctive investments, and he talks about stewardship of invest. I was like, dude, this is my life. I literally, my whole brand is about stewardship, right? Taking care of well what has been entrusted to you while you have it. And that requires you to invest your time, energy, talents, relationships, and resources in your God's given purpose. You first have to understand what that means. You first
Mm,
have to have a deep work to recognize and grow into who you're supposed to become. And then only then will you have the ability to develop into the person that you're called to be and utilize what has been given to you in the most efficient, aligned way, right? It's not about how resource or how many resources you have. It's about how resourceful you are. What are you doing with what has God given you? And that has been the question I've always asked myself when I had absolutely nothing. Living on my mom's couch, back at ground zero. What do I have? I've got these skills. I wrote them down. How much time do I got? I planned out my week, Sunday to Sunday. What can I do next? What relationships and connections have I made? What platforms have I continuously invested into? Where am I spending my time and energy? Actually understanding my priorities and then making the adjustments so that I can get a different result. Because obviously, if it led me to where I was at, then I've got to make some changes. Otherwise, if I think it's going to be different, that is the absolute definition of insanity. I get really
mm.
passionate about this because it's real life. Like, just do the work, and the work is about thinking about your thoughts and then writing the shit out and then being prepared enough to execute on the plan. And that's the work people don't want to do. They just want the cookie cutter microwave type of success. And now with AI and a whole bunch of other things that are getting off, people think that's even more possible. And that is a facade and lie from the enemy. You've got to be more in tune than ever to understand how you're spending your time. And like, I'm at fault, I'm a human being. So there are times where I waste my time scrolling or
Instant
engaging in
gratification.
conversations and relations. Yeah. And I'm a human, but I've been learning over the years how to be more discerned and listening to the instinct, the voice from God that is telling me, hey, back on track. Hey, get in alignment. Hey, got to keep it moving. Hey, get back up. And I think that's what he's really getting at, right? If you steward what he's given you, then you can grow and develop into the person he's called you to be. I love that he talked about the parable of the talents, right? How two of those people multiplied what was given. One just sat on it and protected it away, and then it was taken from him. So you need those gifts to be developed rather than hidden
Mm.
and putting yourself out there. He talked about delaying action leading to missed opportunities. I agree in that. I just think delayed obedience is disobedience. So if you're not doing what you know you're supposed to and what God has told you, just because you're not doing anything negative, like murdering somebody or stealing or lying, you're still disobeying. Like, get up, go talk to people, be of value and service, and see how to help, you know? And
Because
then
you know,
successful
because
people
you know better.
intentionally, exactly, exactly. Sorry, you know that you know. Now you can't unknow. Do it or don't, but it's up to you now that you're aware. Successful power of awareness. Shout out that book. We might have to reread that one. No cat.
I think
Okay.
so.
Rather than successful people intentionally invest in their future rather than merely preserving what they already have.
Mm.
And as I've started to get into new stages of income and relationships, I've had to battle these preconceived thoughts that I used to hold on to about fear or worry or scarcity. You've got to continuously operate in abundance. And I knew that this moment would come, and I'm now actively staying in alignment with those thoughts so that I don't lose sight of what matters most, so that I can actively take steps forward and steward it well, right? If I'm tithing 10% of my money every day, or excuse me, every dollar that I'm gaining, because that's what I believe biblically it tells me to do, then obviously the more income I make, the more money I'm giving back to God. But I have to maintain the right aspect of mind. It's never my money to begin with, it's his. I give because he first gave. I serve because he first served. It's never about me. And that's what I have to constantly remind myself, even when my human tendencies want to be like, oh no, like maybe I should hold on to this a little bit. Because I remember what happened when I didn't have the $110 in my account and I was operating on $40 for 2 days. It's actually real life how I'd be seeing how the changes have occurred and how it's really just a mindset and belief. And
Mm.
if you point your instincts to opportunities, that growth will require intentional investments and actions that you're either taking or you're not taking. And if you take those investment type actions into your future, then you're going to get results. You're going to grow, you're going to develop, and you're going to be able to serve more people. And I just feel like that's what it's about. It's never been about me. I always aim to give it to God in a route. This man just got pants. That's crazy. One of his homeboys just said, bow. Thank God he was wearing underwear because that would have been annoying.
Oh my God.
But Lord, teenagers, Puerto Ricans for sure. That's hilarious. They said bow. But yeah, it's just the joys in life, man. Taking intentional steps. I'm just grateful because I recognize that God gives and he can take away. And he
Mm.
literally gave the most important thing that we need, and that's Jesus Christ dying for us and allowing us to operate in abundance and freedom, even when we fall, right? And mess up. So, anyways, that's my take over 8 through 11. It was amazing. You should definitely read them things. I'm
Mm.
going to cover what books we're covering next, and then I'm gonna go on this beach before
All
this
right.
2 p.m. Hold on. Next book or next chapters.
Yeah.
Uh,
As you talk about the books, I had to.
Lord, isn't this crazy though? I've been operating on instinct this entire time. I'm like, all right, Lord, where am I going today? No itinerary. Just vibing. I've had
Love
a
that.
time. Okay. Chapters 12, 11, 13, and 14. So you got some
That
reading to do, sis. But that was
I do.
me. That was me. But
I'm gonna catch up.
we
Have
here.
fun on the beach. Eh.
Say, Mama. All right.
You ready?
Puerto Rico. Hey,
Oh. All right. I'll talk to you
honestly,
soon.
I appreciate you if you can pray for me for safe travels home. I leave in the morning.
Absolutely. I'm praying for you. Have a fantastic day. Enjoy the beach. Enjoy what Puerto Rico has to offer.
But yeah, and give me a prayer of discernment for later this evening too. Shout out God.
I'll talk to you
I'll
later,
talk to
okay?
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.